So hey everyone, I haven't necessarily decided which things I'm going to play today yet, but I figured I'd have some more fun putting the FrankenBox through her paces. So this is the FrankenBox. Yeah, it's kind of weird looking, kind of crazy, literally made inside of a plastic box, but it's actually pretty good at what it does. My crazy little rat's nest of cables here. But yeah, it does what it's supposed to do for the most part. I think one little thing may have gotten a little weird, so I'm going to look at it quick. Yep, those did fall out. Where'd they go? Thought that happened. Two things actually come loose on me. Okay, there we go. Don't mind me just getting a few of my cables back attached the way they're supposed to be for this crazy thing. Oh, all my buttons will work again. Oh man, one of them came on aimed attached already. Yeah, it's the hardest button to keep attached because there's nothing really holding it in there other than the pressure of the connector. Okay, there we go. Now that random extra button should work. Anyway, it shouldn't matter too much. So, which thing to play? Let's do some Dangan. And yes, we're doing a vertical game. Need to swap so you guys can see it right. Yeah, it looks like we have to set up the controls on this one yet. So for anyone unfamiliar with Dangan, it is a caravan shmup. So what does that mean? That means that the timing of when enemies show up is based not necessarily just on where you are on the stage, but on how quickly you kill the waves. To kill the wave quicker, its a follow-up wave shows up quicker. And well, what does that mean for us? Well, means we'll actually do some focus on how quickly we kill things. Oops, already dying. Yeah. Bad dodge. Cost me 2 lives trying to recover from it. But yeah, I'm no expert at Dangan, and this is literally my, I believe, only second time trying it with my new controller. So I'm still getting used to it. Yep, I already done with my credit. So, yeah, that's a fun one, but we'll swap over to some Bad Rider. I'm probably just going to do, you know, quick credits of a whole lot of stuff. It's the sort of mood I'm in. Alright, now I've got it so you guys can actually see. I don't even know what killed me there. to get that in time. And didn't shot from that. Didn't quite get there in time. Dropped the balls. Thought I had dodged that, did not. Jumping through all the tests for this stick. Well, it's not exactly a stick, is it? A weird all button controller. Looks like we got the video. There we go. Yeah, if anybody watching has any questions about anything or anything you want to talk about with this, feel free. That was a bad death. I was doing so well before that death too. Well, I'm getting better at this one. I don't think I've just about ever actually held a chain that long in this game, because it's still one I'm learning. Didn't even see that metal drop until it was way too late. Can't get that. Keeps me alive. Well, I think that's actually the best I've ever had for a round of this. Because, yeah, this is definitely still one I'm learning. That was actually really good. But yeah, I'm going to take a break and vape it up for a little bit and get myself a little more of my energy drink. Then I'll be back into at least something. I might do another round of this because that went really well. Or I might do something else. I'm generally willing to do just about anything on Mister, so if you're somewhat familiar with what's on Mister, feel free to ask for a specific thing. I tend to prefer arcade stuff to most console stuff, but that said, well, they give just about anything a try for a credit at a time or so. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna set up my energy drink and take a touch of a break, but a break while I'm here. Yeah, I use some of those powdered gamer energy drinks. No, I'm not sponsored or anything. That's the one that I'm using today, but I got like 3 or 4 different kinds I use. Yes, that is the background I use is from Crimson Clover. That's definitely correct. In fact, I actually have a full-size desktop background of Crimson Clover that I use as kind of a backdrop for any of the space that's not covered by stuff, you know. I do enjoy me some Crimson Clover, but today I'm mostly playing on the Mister. That way I don't have to go hook this controller up to my PC instead of the Mister. Because I've only got that one on Steam. Well, thanks, Cannon Shell. I appreciate it. But yeah, shmups is almost all that I play here. I occasionally will play some other stuff, but I'm pretty much a shmupper. That's what I do. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for the follow. I truly appreciate it. But yeah, shmups is what I do around here. Just lots and lots of shmups. I play a lot on Mister, and at the moment I'm kind of testing out my absolutely ridiculous controller. You can actually see details if you follow the link in the description. In short, I kind of made myself sort of a double hitbox, which was chiefly made for playing twin-stick games, because pretty soon I've got a Smash TV tournament coming up, and that's a lot of why I made it. Yep, yeah, I'm pretty much with you there on Trust Me and about the purest form of gaming. That's most of what I do myself. I just have lots and lots of shmups on just about any platform you've ever heard of, and 12 you haven't. Because I actually have, real systems of just about everything, and some way to do a flash card or soft mod or whatever of just about everything. But these days I play on the Mister more than anything else just due to the convenience of it. It works really well. And if you're a shmupper, the Mister is amazing if you are not familiar with Mr. FPGA. I mean, I can show you through the listing of, the sort of stuff that's on Mr. FPGA for shmuppers. Because first of all, we've got almost every console that a shmupper would ever use. So, for example, like every console up through, PS1. So, first of all, you've got all that in there, and, as you can see, it's even got, some really obscure consoles, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, all out of the portable stuff. And a lot of that stuff has some really good shmups on it. So, you can look through all the different consoles you have, even the Wonder Swan Color, so you can do Judgment Silver Sword in the original. But then, we've also got the arcade listing, and, well, it's a lot of arcade stuff, and a lot of the best arcade stuff is shmups, right? So we have everything from CPS-1 and CPS-2, a fair amount of the Rising stuff, which is what this is from the Rising core. You got Battle McCrade, Battle Garega, just all kinds of other cool stuff. The, Arcade Bionic Commando, Arcade Black Tiger and Black Widow. But just all kinds of stuff. And it gets better and better. Like every few months, there's at least some good new shmup out there. Cosmo Police, Galavan, and just all kinds of weird stuff, right? Like one of the ones that I enjoy the most, it's a bit of a weirder one, is actually the best shmup on CPS-2. Varth, Operation Thunderstorm. This is very much an old school shmup. Yep, gotta get the video so it'll be right for you guys. One sec. There we go. And also have to do my button config, because I haven't played it with this new controller yet. And this one also is definitely one that you actually want to turn on some auto fire in the main button for. So, this is a pretty fun, weird shmup by Capcom, sort of along the, general feel of the 1940s series, but with definitely a lot of its own flavor too. See, one of the weirdest things about this one is that your bombs actually rebuild themselves over time, so bombing is way freer in this than pretty much any other shmup you play. You get some extra points for having your, full selection of bombs at the end of a stage. Ah, yes, it is definitely a wiggle shmup, among other things. So, yes, it does. The bomb does charge faster when you wiggle around, if you actually use your bombs much. Another of the weird things about this one is that you actually have a small invincibility window whenever you pick up anything that you pick up. And that's anything that's a visible pickup on the screen. Doesn't matter if it's just points or if it's something that actually is a power-up or what. Any visible pickup, you get invincibility when you pick up for just a very short period of time. As you see, I make use of that invincibility, and it allows me to go some places that I normally wouldn't be able to get on the screen. And as you see, it has these shields that you actually get two settings that you get to choose with the shields. You can either have them always just in front of you, which is usually what I do, or you can have them sort of try to pick which way to go sort of automatically. But yeah, I'm no true expert of this one. I'm okay at it. I've actually made some sort of serious 1cc attempts, but a 1cc of this game is ridiculous. And I'll tell you why. It's got 30 levels. That's not an exaggeration. A few of the last levels are short because they're kind of boss level sort of things, but it's only like the last few that are like that. It's got 30 levels, and yeah, it's just ridiculously long as shmups go. It's a true endurance match to get through this one. Nope. And there I'm dying. First death. And this level's always weird. Like, the way this level plays out is so strange. Because you're kind of like doing this really slow assaults on this island. A lot of the enemies are land-based, but not all. And you just very slowly kind of scroll around the island in a really odd way. And I did not mean to pick that up. But, oh well. We'll work with it. That's a lot of the problem with the different weapons, is that the bombs are different with each different weapon, and the Vulcan has by far the best bomb. Pretty soon we get to see Ryu. What, you think I'm joking? And here I died trying to get Ryu to come out. He did actually come out of the very corner of the screen, not that you can really see it. But yeah, not a good round. And I'm almost through it at this point. Yep, that'll be it. Yeah, we're definitely not going to continue from that bad of a credit. But yeah, Good old Varth. Let's see what to play next. But yeah, I'm just kind of going through and doing a credit or so on each thing. And mostly why I'm doing this today is testing out this new crazy controller of mine. Yeah, look at this thing. Yeah, that's what I'm playing on. And it's actually amazingly good. Not that you'd, necessarily fully understand it, but it'll make more sense if you actually look at the diagram of it, which you can use the link in the description to get to. Actually, you know what? I'll show you one of the reasons why I made this controller. I have to switch your view a little and turn my other CRT on. Yeah, I've actually got two CRTs over here, which is how I view this. I have one, in a vertical positioning and one in a horizontal positioning. And this is literally one of the main reasons I made this thing, although I'm already running into something I'm not seeing. Got display mess in the way. Start effectively down the way, but that's fine. Happens. But yeah, this kind of crazy looking controller I'm using, a lot of the reason why it looks the way it does is because I've designed it to be really comfortable for twin stick shmups. Why? Because it's sort of a doubled hitbox. So that means I can easily press all the directions on it for, sort of both joysticks without having to worry that much about where my hands are, because my hands don't have to move and I can do that, and it's really comfortable. And there I'm running into stuff. Yeah, a pretty bad round of Robotron, but that's okay. Call that one a warm-up. Original twin stick. I thought I had him. Now I'm at least feeling more Robotron-y. Not quite. Yep, and I'm leaving that one alive on purpose, so we can collect as many of the bonus points as we can. Because Robotron is not a game that you actually expect to, just play forever and never die. Robotron is a game about getting points, getting extra lives, and getting enough extra lives to keep going for a while. Yep. Can't dodge that. Just got it. Okay. Actually got out of that stage. Surprised I actually even got out. Didn't realize he'd spawned. But yeah, that's Robotron for you. Very old school. And that's the sort of thing that I made this for. That, and rather than an arcade, we'll open up the real thing we made it for, which is under console and my favorites. Smash TV, specifically the SNES version. Why? Because it's actually a tournament about speedrunning this game. So I'll show you, one quick practice round as I go. Show you a few of the tricks and talk about how she works. So my friend Bryce runs a yearly tournament on playing Smash TV Easy %. So if you wonder why I'm doing the specific things I'm doing, there's actually a bit of RNG manip for the very first drop in the game, which saves you time in the first room. So I'm actually going to be wading through a little bit of this intro scene to do that RNG manip. Okay, now we're actually in the game. So I am far from the best player in this. I'm decent, but, far from the best. Brian Sulphur is one of the best, as well as, some many others that play in this tourney. He actually was the world record holder for almost forever, but now somebody else holds it. Jeez, I can't even remember the name of the world record holder was, but this game doesn't seem like the sort of game you could speedrun, but it is. Why? Because unlike other games you speedrun, the timing is mostly based on, killing enemies quickly. It's more like speedrunning like a beat-em-up than it is like speedrunning a platformer. It's all about how quickly and efficiently you eliminate the enemy. Now this game is a really random game. It has a lot of important RNG elements. But learning how to manage it and manage the randomness as well as you can is a big part of the game. Now this is the most important item in the game. Why? Because it is the one offensive power-up that doesn't go away. Any other offensive power-up is something you get ammo for that only lasts for a little bit of time. This, the orb, as we call it, never goes away. And it's a little, option thing that surrounds you and doubles your firepower. However, it also makes you eat through ammo of any other weapon quicker if you actually get other, extra weapons. Now there's a lot of specific stuff I could tell you about specific rooms and stuff. Like, for example, this room is kind of on a timer based on these big guys. You have to kill a certain amount of the big guys to get through the room, and also enough of the small guys. That actually, by the way, slows you down whenever you use one of the smart bombs. It slows down the spawns. It's also mildly slower since I have that razor shield, as we call them, because you can't get quite as close to the door with the razor shield. It limits your movements a little. But yeah, Easy % is pretty quick, because to get through Easy %, you just have to get to the end of the first level and kill the first boss out of the 5 levels, and the first level is much, much quicker and easier than the others. But quicker and easier than the other levels does not mean that it is necessarily easy. Especially to play through quickly when you're really competing against the speed of other players more than, you know, just the pure game itself. Trapped in the corner a little bit there.
I'd buy that for $1. Bingo! Let's go!
Lost my orb. As you notice, the orb is its own thing, and you can lose the orb and not die if the orb actually runs into things. And yeah, one hit kill, you die, just like most shmups. So, yeah, things are starting to come apart here in Tank Trouble. Happens, though. Like I said, I am not by any means a really great player of this game. A pretty okay player of this game, but I am far from one of the greats. And I'm losing my orb already. Can't quite clear out enough space to get it. Wouldn't have mattered much anyway, because we're onto the boss, and against the boss, well, there is a thing you can do with the orb, but the orb isn't that important against the boss. You can, if you do it perfectly, you can actually execute a glitch against this boss, where the orb actually ends up doing a lot of damage to the boss. So, against the boss, there's a lot of things to learn about. Like, one, your normal weapon does 0 damage to the boss. You only can do the damage to the boss with weapons that take ammo. All of the ammo-based weapons do damage to the boss, but due to glitches, there's a few that are way better than the others a lot of the time. Mostly the spreader weapon. The spreader weapon can do absolutely ridiculous amounts of damage if you can do the spreader from effectively within the boss, where your gun is within the boss in certain areas in his hitbox. The spreader can do ridiculous damage. And I haven't picked up a single spreader against the boss today. However, I at least have one of the other most consistent damage weapons, which is this labber. The labber only exists in boss rooms. Like, you can't even get it outside of boss rooms. And the labber, if you hit it just right, kind of just a little north of the very center of the enemy's sprite, it does extra damage. Not nearly as much as the spreader weapon does when you can do it. Oh, I actually get to show you a spreader if I can get it in time. See, the trick with the spreader, if you want to use the spreader, is you usually do what I just did. And as you can see, it pretty much finished off the boss to the point where I did, you know, both of the forms worth of damage to the boss with just the spreader. So that's Smash TV for you. Now I don't even know what my time was, but I know it was actually pretty decent. Like, for me, that was actually probably a personal best if I were to time it comparative to what I have on speedrun.com. That's better than I used to be. But I've been practicing a lot offline, so I've been really improving my play of this one over the last few. It is nice to see us actually have some people watching, so I gotta say thanks a lot for actually coming out here to watch. Lately, the few times I go live, I don't really have much for you know, an actual audience. So thanks a lot. So I am probably going to play another few rounds of this. Again, I'm going to take a bit of a break, have some sips of my energy drink thing I've mixed up, and do the manip again. Whoops, I actually did that too late. This would actually screw up the manip, so I have to reset, which is, you know, just the equivalent of hitting reset on an actual console, so I can get back into the manip. But yeah, that's Smash TV Easy Percent for you, and if that's a thing that really interests you, A, ask questions, because I'm actually a lot more knowledgeable about it than my actual ability to execute. Because, you know, I've played like the last 4 or 5 of these tournaments and been hanging out on the channel of the previous world record holder for years as one of his most common viewers. I mean, heck, we even hung out a lot at an SGDQ, the only SGDQ I've ever been to. And I actually went as a runner for a sort of similar game called Bangayo, which is a weird twin-stick shooter on Dreamcast. But yeah, I'm a big fan of twin-stick shooters, but I'm also a fan of classic shmups. I've played just about any of it. Twin-stick or traditional, you know, scrolling shmups. Or even the really old-school single-screen stuff.
Good luck.
I'd play any of it. I didn't even think I did the manip, did I? No, if I didn't, I didn't. No, I did. So much habit, I can't even remember doing the manip, but I did it. But yeah, I haven't really taken this one seriously to, you know, get as good as the really good players are yet. Because I'm alright. Like I said, I'm a decent player of this game, but certainly not as good as the best.
Good luck.
And if you want to see the best, I believe, you know, I'm not sure exactly where and where we'll be airing it, but if you want more info about the tournament, feel free to private message me or Brysel for that matter, and I'll get you hooked up with the right link and all that. We do still have slots in it at this point. It'll start in a few weeks. And it isn't all done at once. It's a tournament where, you know, we do various rounds of it over time, and you just arrange getting in a, you know, match with your specific opponent. You gotta arrange the time when your opponent's there, and you can actually have some of the people doing the commentary. Yeah, normally the grenades aren't that good of an, you know, a weapon in this game. Aim for the ammo weapons, but in this room they can be more useful than they can in most, because they're moderately quick at killing these guys, and killing these guys is the main thing that you've got to do to get out of this room. And as you can see, I haven't gotten an orb yet, and that's how bad the RNG can be. Sometimes you just don't, you know, you just don't get an orb, and having an orb is the most important thing out of the RNG for how fast you're going to go, other than getting spreaders to get the bonus damage on the boss, and, you know, use that glitch damage. Yeah, with the room that full, it was probably actually worth it to activate the bomb, even though it slows down the spawns. With it killing that many of the, enemies that were on the screen and me not in the best of positions, is a time when I'm going to actually choose to activate the bomb. So that was not an accident. That was actually an active choice. And I got killed right after I got that. But hey, I actually get an orb. See if I can keep it. A swirl of shame. Yeah, just left me with nowhere to go. Didn't figure I could keep that orb. But I did my best to try it. Oh, I get another orb. That one I should be able to keep. Because the positioning isn't that bad. What I mean by the swirl of shame is that swirl is a timed spawn that you should get out of the room faster than if you've actually, had an orb and been able to kill things efficiently. If you see the swirl, you're going slow. So yeah, this round, not nearly as good as last round. Which is fine. Because, I'm not trying to break any records here. I don't even have my timer on, right? Not that I'm anywhere near a record, although I wager the last round would improve my PB if I took the time to time it, which I can do after the fact. There are ways to do that, frame count it, all that fun stuff. Lost my orb. Well, at least I got that. That'll help a lot. And, I get an orb back. I might even be able to keep. But yeah, you kind of want to take control of the center of the room, but there are times when you just can't easily take control of the center of the room, and you're better off kind of doing the corner hide strats like I am. Yeah, I was gonna lose the orb there anyway, so. And it's almost to the point where the orb doesn't matter. We're almost out of this room. That was just a waste. I really shouldn't have run into that. Oh well. This is the end. On to the boss. But yeah, this round has just been kind of terrible. But we'll see how well the boss goes. But even a terrible round is still getting in what I need, which is practice as well. I'm far from the greatest at this game, and so I practice it to actually become decent at it. That is the only way to get better at things like a good game or anything else. Oops. Good that he can hit you even at the very top. Oh yeah, key. That's going to help. Okay. I actually get a weapon out of this. I am a spreader, but at least it's something. Don't get on top. There we go. That is about perfect, by the way, for the extra damage from this weapon. Right where I was doing it there. Kind of just above the dot in the middle is where you want it to be. See if I can get that in time. I can. Okay. Once again, lots of bonus damage from that. That dealt insane amounts of damage, which is why it's already dead. Saved most of the last form by the free damage. So yeah, that's yet another round of Smash TV. I think I'll probably do one more full round of Smash TV like that. But yeah, after one more round of Smash TV, probably gonna call it quits for the stream. About time to start making dinner and stuff. Thanks for the follow. Hello, Erster von Elf. Truly appreciated.
Yeah. Good luck.
Hey, the FrankenBox is actually really awesome, Sarv. Like, it's way better than I thought it would be. I've actually been playing with it pretty extensively over the past week, and yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it was certainly not the fault of the controls there. No, that was the fault of me playing badly, which is fine. That happens. It really wants me to have shields, I guess. At least I can, you know, get some free kills with shields. But yeah, you know, I've done a few other built controllers, but yeah, this one, you know, I just did some interesting thought processes of, so how can I design a really good button box for twin stick shmups? And also make it usable for other stuff, but its main design function is to be the best possible all button controller for playing twin sticks. And it does that really well. My sort of double the hitbox design does work. Yeah, Smash and Robotron is exactly the sort of thing that this is for. It also works really well for Bangai-O, which, as you know, is, you know, the speed game that I am known for. And yes, I can play on this home-built controller on my Dreamcast. I have the right adapters for it. I wasted my orb. That was bad. But I'm having more fun having the conversation. But yeah, it does play for Bangai-O, Smash, Robotron, and it's actually pretty good for traditional shmups too. Like, you know, all the, you know, your typical little scrolling shmups play pretty well on it. But it's notably better than any other controller I've tried for Smash, Robotron, Bangai-O, and at least as good for the more traditionals. So for the more traditional stuff, it's, you know, not especially better or anything than playing on any other hitbox or mixbox or whatever. But it's at least as good, right? And that plus, so this is actually a US, this game, this is the SNES port, which is what the tournament that Bryself runs yearly for this game is on. And the SNES port is actually the best port of this game in general. Well, I will say the prices for this controller certainly weren't ridiculous. Because it was literally spare parts I had lying around and $3 for a case. Yeah, they had $3 is what I spent on the storage bin I used to build the case out of. Oh, I also spent another $5 on the drill to drill the holes in it. Like the drill bit specifically. I already had the drill, but I needed a drill bit that is a, you know, little hole saw for 28mm because I'm using American style buttons. So that's the right sizing. Common button sizes for those who are unaware are 24 and 30 are the common Asian button sizes, and 28 is the American button size, which is also 1 1/8. If you need to know that, in inches. Yeah, 28mm or 1 1/8 inches, which is the same approximately. It's close enough that it doesn't have, you know, a notable difference. But yeah, like, my total cost, even for the money I spent and buying the random parts that I had lying around, is like, so I actually got the parts for this insanely cheap. That's actually why I had them lying around, was it was parts that were so insanely cheap that I just picked them up as kind of replacement parts. So, all of the buttons in it cost me $6, like, together. Like, not each, like, the full button set. $6. And besides that, it was about, I think it was like 12 for the PCB I used, which came from Mr. Add-ons. He was clearing out the older version and had them cheap on sale. It's one of the reflex fighting boards, as he calls them, which is yet another variation of the RP2040 open stick fighting board, which is a really cheap but very, very low latency and pretty well featured fighting stick board. And besides that, you know, like probably $5 or $6 for all the wiring in it, including all the connectors and the like. And $3 for the case it's in, equivalently, and that's total cost. So that was, you know, somewhere around maybe $35 total for every single thing that went into making this stick. Although that does not count the spinner. The spinner itself is an expensive part. And that's because I happen to have the spinner lying around because I wanted to put the spinner into something, and I figured I may as well integrate it into this when I was building it. The spinner itself costs more than the rest of the stick put together. Yeah, the spinner itself is like $45. But even with an expensive spinner, that means it's like $70 for this, which is, you know, a really good button box with a spinner integrated, which, you know, doesn't exist. And if I didn't have the spinner integrated, you know, it's literally remove the spinner and the 2 buttons associated with the spinner, and I have still a perfect button box for like 35 bucks. So, the cost certainly is right, especially when you had the parts lying around like I did. And even if you don't have the parts lying around, it ain't so bad. Although it'll probably cost you more because I got all those on like really cheap sales. Like the full set of 20 buttons for $6. That was a crazy sale that they did over the New Year's. I did buy 2 sets of those, but yeah, that was a crazy sale that X Arcade, the people who make these buttons, had. And it was a crazy sale to get the PCB as cheap as it is. They're normally like 25 or 35 or so just for the PCB. Now the wiring wasn't on sale, it just, the wiring's cheap, right? Yeah, thanks for the GG, Sarv. It's always appreciated. That's probably the last round I'm going to do, but I figure I can hang out and chat about building arcade sticks for a bit. Because I've got to go in probably about 20 minutes. Just to make dinner and stuff. Oh, Batrider's so fun. And you can play it so well on the Mister now with its, you know, actual perfect arcade port. You could also play it on the Saturn. If you don't happen to have a Mister, if you're someone else out there. I know Sarv has a Mister. Which means you could play either the Saturn port or the really cool perfect arcade port on the Mister. And yeah, Batrider it's a really good game for all skill levels, yeah. Where there's, you know, some really, you know, high-level tech for those people who are really trying to get into it and once you see it and score run it. But it's also just a ridiculously fun game, even if you aren't at that level. Even if you're at the, you know, you're a true ranked beginner, it's still a fun game. Batsugun's another one that's like that plays really well for just about all levels. Rising was really good at that, other than their Battle Betrayed and Battle Garega games, which are very much, like, those aren't as fun at the base level if you don't understand how to manipulate the system. But if you want games where you don't have to manipulate the system, play yourself some Batsugun or some Batrider. Rising just made a lot of amazing stuff, right? Yeah. Yeah, and how it all works at the same time. It just all works. Yeah, Batrider is definitely the most like solidly accessible of all the Rising shmups, in my opinion. Because even if you're not great at it, it's still great fun. But if you want to get great at it, there's so much there. Now, if you are really into getting great at a game, I prefer Battle Betrayed. That's my favorite Rising, but only if you are trying to play it at an expert level. It's not that great if you're trying to casual it. It's not a great game casually, but man is it good if you're into manipulating the system and actually getting the proper or chaining of the metals and all that stuff. It's really good for that. But if you're trying to play at a base level, or if you're trying to learn one from scratch and you've never played before, Batrider is the game to pick. Because it's got almost all of that same complexity that Battle Betrayed or Battle Garega has, but it's way more fun to play casually without knowing that stuff. It isn't as just absolutely lethal to you if you don't know it. But it'll teach you that stuff, and then once you've learned how to play Batrider really well, you've already learned most of the same skills to go play a Betrayed, to go play Garega, to go play the really hard Rising games. And it's also going to teach you a lot of the same stuff that you need to learn to play like Dodonpachi or Dioju or any of the cave stuff too. It's a lot of the same skills, although the manipulation is different, you'll learn how to do it from any of those games. But yeah, there's so many cool things, and it's definitely one of the ways to learn how to become a really good shmupper. Play yourself some Bat Rider. It's a great start to teach you the skills that you're going to use to be an expert shmupper at anything else. But yeah, I will say in general, the FrankenBox experiment has been way better than I even figured it would be, and I figured it'd be pretty good or I wouldn't have bothered with it, right? But it's really good. I was actually playing Forgotten Realms earlier offline, and it is like the controller for Forgotten Realms due to that spinner, right? Also the same for Discs of Tron, if you've ever played that. And, you know, the SNKA stuff from that era, like Heavy Barrel, is that's kind of why the spinner is built into it, is stuff like that, right? It also is pretty good for a pure spinner game, so if you want to play yourself some, you know, Arkanoid or some, you know, other classic stuff. But yeah, having actual spinner controls for Forgotten Realms, yeah, really good. Yeah, and it also worked for, I think it's like Eco Fighters is the other weird spinner game from Capcom. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely pretty much the all singing, all dancing controller for just about anything retro is what it can be. You know, it's even pretty good for, you know, like just old school like NES and SNES, anything, really. It's really good for SNES. Like, due to the layout, it actually mirrors an SNES controller's layout better than just about anything else, right? So due to layout, you can play SNES stuff better than you could on just about anything else.
Yeah. Good luck.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun playing with it and a lot of fun designing it. And if anybody has any, you know, if you want to learn more about it, feel free to hit me up on Twitter or whatever. I mean, that is my Twitter that's in the link. If you want to learn anything about, well, building sticks and all that, because that's the thing I've been into for quite a while. And yeah, I think this FrankenBox, maybe once I put it in a better case, although even in the case it's in, it's still really good. I might put it in a better case, and it's kind of my magnum opus as controllers go. But yeah, it's great for, you know, good old Arkanoid or any of the other spinner stuff, Breakout. If you're into any of that stuff, it's really good for just pure spinner stuff, actually having a good spinner. And a lot of that stuff is on MISR, so you can actually play it. You can play the console ports of most of it. It's actually implemented right. Like the Arkanoid port on NES. It's actually pretty good. NES or Famicom. Either of them work. It's actually implemented correctly for both. And it is different, by the way. If you own an actual one like I do, you know it's different. Because the VOUS has the different, you know, plug you can plug into. So it's actually a different physical device between Famicom and NES. And yeah, I have ways to hook just about anything up to just about anything, though. Because, well, that's the sort of stuff I have around. I even have ways to hook, you know, modern controllers into my Dreamcast and Saturn and stuff like that, so I can use this on Dreamcast and Saturn, which is pretty great. Because this thing does a really good job for Bangai-O. It especially does good with the double taps for Bangai-O. It hurts my hands so much less. So much less than anything else I've used for Bangai-O. Because with this, the only times I ever have to, move anything is, well, pretty much never. As long as I extend my finger a little bit so it can actually, so they can press the extra buttons that I use for the L and R triggers. Well, this isn't exactly native controls, but it's about as good as you can get for twin stick stuff. Oh, and it looks like my my camera locked up on me. Give me a moment to fix that. And the camera that I use these days is actually literally a old phone with own running Droid Cam, which actually works pretty well. Yep, there we go. See, now I got camera again. But yeah, my camera is actually literally an old phone running Droid Cam because it's actually a better resolution than pretty much any webcam you can buy. Anyway, though, I think I'm going to get going and find somebody to raid. Let's see who we got around. See who's running, who needs a raid. If there's anybody I know actually playing at this time of day. Oh, Mad Q is out playing some Gemini Wing. That's the sort of things you guys are going to want to see, so that's who's getting the raid. I love me some Gemini Wing, by the way. It's actually one I rather often play. So, yeah, Madgiwa is always fun to watch. I've watched Madgiwa. He's a pretty skilled player of many a shmup. So, have fun with it. And I'm going to have fun making myself some dinner pretty soon. You guys have a good one. But yeah, I do enjoy me some Gemini Wing, so hope you guys enjoy watching it too, because I always have fun playing Gemini Wing.